right, here we are in 3, 2, 1. It was a blue day this evening in Toronto. Get it? Blue? Thanks. Here all week. Try the veal. The Columbus Blue Jackets defeated the Toronto Maple Leafs 1-0 in Game 1 of their Eastern Conference playoff qualifier. We are on to recap that live during the first intermission of the Minnesota Wild Vancouver Canucks game, where the Wild lead 1-0 on a terrific shot by Kevin Fiala. We will talk about that during Canucks Breakfast tomorrow. But you can follow us, of course, on Twitter, podcast_hockey. You can listen live on Facebook, and as well as listen to us on Spreaker.com, subscribe on iTunes, Apple, which is the same thing, and Google, Spotify, or iHeartRadio. Devin, how are you? How are you feeling? What was your impressions of the game tonight?
I'm feeling okay. I thought overall Toronto played decent. Didn't play their A game. They didn't blow anybody out of the water. I think it's more of a thumbs up and a pat on the back to John Tortorella and the Columbus Blue Jackets. I thought they played very well defensively, and Toronto just couldn't penetrate how defensively sound that Columbus was.
Yeah, it's interesting. I think the first thing I'm going to make this statement, and I think the Canucks are going to learn this as well. Some of the Canucks fan base is going to learn this as well. Just because we don't know players on a team doesn't mean that they're not very good. Oliver Bukestad, Pierre-Luc Dubois, Cam Atkinson. Well, Atkinson's probably a little bit more of a household name, but there's a lot of household names on Columbus that if they were playing in a bigger market, in a more hockey-mad market, we would be loving these guys. But they're in Columbus and nobody knows them. And that's part of... I don't think... would you say that the Leaf fan base was underestimating Columbus? I didn't sense that from what I was looking at, but what were you seeing?
I don't think that they were underestimating Columbus. I think Columbus is kind of a mid of the road team in the NHL, and they're still good. Like you said, Kev, they have Oliver Bjorkstrand, who's I thought he had a hell of a game. He showed up a bunch of times with quality shots. Anderson was able to make the save. Cam Atkinson, he's a veteran in this league. He's in his early 30s, and he's always even though he's a smaller player. And led by Nick Foligno too. He's a world class hockey player, and yes, he's probably not high-end talent that you expect, but he's a hard worker. He's a blue-collar player, and I think that really shows throughout the rest of the team. And having Tortorella on the bench too really solidifies that type of hockey. And I don't think that the Leaf fan base, Leaf Nation, really underestimated them, but I think they was just wondering exactly how Toronto would fare with offensive power compared to the defensive team structure that Columbus has.
Yeah, that I think is what I noticed as well. But as for a game that really was coming across really defensive, I found this game to be quite exciting, to be honest with you. There was the Austin Matthews chance. First of all, I'm not the biggest I'm going to start by saying I'm not the biggest Austin Matthews fan in the world. I think people know that have been listening to the podcast, but I thought he showed up tonight. He had a couple of really good opportunities. He had a great shift early in the third period. I thought this was a very different Austin Matthews. We'll talk about the Austin Matthews that made the comment after the game in a quick second here, but he certainly was on, and there was some great saves from Corpusalo and Freddie Anderson for a game that was really defensive. It had a high intensity, high speed, and there were chances. It was, and according to Natural Stat Trick, it was 8-6 after the first period for chances, and as much as people were thinking it was slow, there was a lot of high danger scoring chances in the game.
Yeah, it was definitely, it had its highs and lows for sure. There's a lot of neutral zone play, and yeah, I'd say it's pretty even throughout offensive, defensive, neutral zone time, just overall in the game. And there definitely were a bunch of chances. And Anderson and Corpusalo came to play. Matthews being in the slot for one of them in the second period, that was massive for Columbus. And then Freddie answered with two massive saves as well. So, each team did have their offensive opportunities, but no one could really get past the goalies. And I think the Atkinson goal, it kind of solidified what the game was. It was very perimeter. There's only maybe two chances for Toronto in the slot, and same with Columbus, maybe one or two more for Columbus. But it was, it was an exciting game. Maybe not as the way that it's maybe not the way that Toronto really wanted to play, because they love that high flying offense going back and forth, and that's more their game. And Chris was able to modify that and able to slow them down. And you see Mark try and wind up every once in a while, but with the defensive team, defensive structure that they had, Columbus, they shut them down.
Yeah. Well, let's talk about the key matchup here. And as much as Austin Matthews was good, I was John Tavares was. I'll pull up his stat while we're talking. But for a guy you spent all that money for, you have these four top forwards. He didn't. This was an opportunity for him to step up. At the very least, if I'm the Leafs, and I'm not, but if you can get Tavares going here, you can create opportunities to try to split up Seth Jones and Zach Werenski, because the way it is now, Jones is going to be around Matthews all the time. And I know that I thought Matthews had a good game, and I thought Seth Jones was outstanding. And that's a defensive pair. That's a great defensive pair. But definitely need more from John Tavares.
Yeah, he was definitely quite. I saw him productive just maybe 3 or 4 times during the game. You can't have that as your 1A or 1B center. I heard that he hadn't won a draw against Lindbergh halfway through the game, and Lindbergh, he's a good player, don't get me wrong, but he's a third line player, and having that, like, fuck, you can't let that happen, and he needs to be there along with Marner. And your top players need to be top players here, and especially with Tavares and him having he's got to show a bit more leadership than inside the room, and yeah, they need to find a way, no matter how good defensively they are. Columbus is, you need to find a way to penetrate and be noticed, be productive. And tonight he wasn't. He was
-2 shots on goal, as well as 1942, but 79% of the face-off circle, which was not exactly the Blue Jays. Sorry, 50% of the face-off circle to 42. 8 giveaways for Columbus, 6 for Toronto. Interesting as well. Yeah, I think that's the big concern there. For the Leafs, the other thing, I think the big story here, one of the other big stories was Nick Robertson made his NHL playoff debut. 18-year-old Nick Robertson, again, the new 18-year-old Sam Bennett. Skated really fast. Didn't think he was 18 years old in a playoff debut. I don't know if it wasn't terrible. But he wasn't at a place.
He wasn't out of place. I think in the first half of the game, I thought he was very effective, and every time he was on the ice, you kind of noticed him with that curve foot line, and I thought that actually they were the best line of the Leafs, which you want your top lines to be more noticeable than your third line. But good on him. He had the first good scoring chance. I feel like if he is as good as everybody says that he is, maybe it was just the nerves, he didn't get a puck up or whatever. I think he would have, if he had that chance again in a year or two, he would carry that. But I feel like throughout the game he kind of got worn down. Maybe that initial surge of adrenaline playing in your first playoff game really wore off. And it's kind of what exactly what you said, Kevin. 18-year-old player playing his first playoff game. And yeah, I thought he played pretty well. So I'd get him in the lineup again and see what he can do for the second game. But one that on the broadcast was that this is the first time that an 18-year-old player has made their playout debut. First time since Jerome, which is kind of cool.
Yeah, that is cool. That's yes, Nick Robertson's playoff game. Yeah, first 18-year-old to play in a playoff game since Jerome McGinley. I don't think we're comparing the two. I think that they're quite the same players, but well, at least I hope I'm not. But that's, if he becomes Jerome McGinley type, that's great. Yeah, so, I mean, I guess one of my final questions, unless you have anything else we want to quickly talk about, they threw Matthews, Tavares, and Marner together a couple of times. Would you going into game two?
I liked it, especially when your first goal, and obviously only, in my mind, the only goal, the other one was empty netter, but...
Oh, yeah, it was 2-0. You're right. I said 1-0. It was 2-0. Jeez.
Yeah, either way, it was a loss. So, but yeah, I do that from time to time just to throw them off, especially on the fly. Not during right before a face-off or anything like that. But if you're on the fly, you catch the team off guard, and potentially you could have their second or third unit or a pairing defenseman out there, which would be the best matchup that you have and you could want, really. So, I really want to keep doing that.
Yeah, that I thought was interesting. Is there anything else that we needed to talk about from this game, the Leaf perspective, or?
I just want to shed light on Travis Dermott again. I thought he had a great game. It just seems like every time he has a puck, he makes a good decision. First good pass out. He doesn't panic. He's a great skater, and he showed that off tonight again. So I'm really impressed by him, and it's a bit of a sigh of relief because for a while there we were looking for our defensive prospects, and him coming and stepping up today was massive for us.
Right. I thought. Yeah, I mean, defensively, they did not look bad, for sure. Well, you only allowed one goal. You did a good job. I mean, it's going to be tough. I think it's offensively that the problem is, and trying to adjust what the Blue Jackets are going to do going forward. I guess the other thing is Kevin BX was talking about this a little bit too. Is sort of the possession game the Leafs are using, having the forwards hold back at the blue line instead of dumping it out. What were your thoughts on that?
I thought he made a great point. He's played the game at obviously at the highest level. Again, he had great career, and pointing that out, I was very smart. Me being defensive myself, I do think about that. But yeah, I agree with him. I thought it was good points.
Okay. So then the other thing was Austin Matthews. So far we've done 2 lives, Devin, or 2 of these lives so far, and controversy has happened with the media on both cases. So Austin Matthews during the media scrum after, Steve Simmons asked him a question. Austin Matthews called him out for Steve Simmons reporting that Austin Matthews had COVID, basically calling it unethical. Are you okay with this? Was this an appropriate time for him to do this? Does it create distraction, or does it matter?
I was great of him to step up and tell off media, because I feel like you have a lot of media out there, or maybe not a lot, but you do have a couple people out there who like to rock the boat and just basically get clickbait material out there. And I thought it was good on Austin Matthews to stand up for himself and what he believes in. And it seems like, with everything that's going on, speaking out to what your beliefs are and how you feel is and in no way am I comparing what's happening at a larger scale with Black Lives Matter to,
Right. Okay. Yeah. I just wanted to get your thoughts on that. But let's leave it there as we find as well. The second intermission is the second intermission. The first intermission is
into
over.
the second period.
Second period is about to start. We will be recapping the Wild Canucks game tomorrow morning. In the morning, we will be doing Canucks breakfast. We'll kind of combine this as a little bit of a pregame for the Flames and Jets as well. So we've got lots to talk about there. So keep an eye out for that. Follow us, podcast_hockey. Look us on Facebook. Subscribe on Apple, iTunes, which is again the same, Google, Spotify, iHeartRadio, etc. And follow us on Twitter. Devin, follow you where?
On Twitter at Gordhouse09.
All right. And Sean's Beardy Canuck, Heidi Amazeballs, Chris is SEHNEIDZ, Schneids, and Tyler's T Noble. I am KEVOLE on Twitter, and we will talk to you all soon. Bye for now.